Hello and a heartily welcome to today's video. Our topic for today is fasting and nutrition, and well, they are both in correlation. So the one thing is actually nutrition, eating something, and fasting is actually the opposite, not eating. And you can do that. I mean, you can choose to not eat, and that's what it's all about. So my name is Dominika Hanschk. I'm glad that you're here with me. Let's get started with today's video. Well, fasting is a very interesting topic because it means that you actually decide for yourself, I'm not gonna have any food right now. In previous years, or let's say in a couple of years back, or not just a couple of years back, 100 years back, 1,000 years back, it was normal that there were periods of time where we didn't have any food. We didn't have a choice. We just had to go through these periods. I mean, the people were just kind of like, they had no chance to have any food because they had a bad year and there was not much food around to go through winter, or the winter would be a prolonged time and the reserves would go, you didn't have enough reserves to go through the long period of time going without any food. So there were natural periods of time where the body had to go through fasting. Okay, so in previous 1,000 years back, it was a natural process because people had no choice. We actually have a choice. We can decide we want to fast. We want to go without any food, and that's a kind of different, because not having any food available because there is nothing around. And that's a stressful situation, right? But if you actually decide to go without any food, it's a personal decision. And the personal decision actually takes the stress part out of it. So fasting is a very interesting topic. But what happens during fasting? Well, during fasting, the body has to count on its own reserves for energy. Yeah? When we eat, we get energy from the outside. But when we fast, we have to rely on our own resources. And many people might think that, well, we're eating carbs, we're eating fat, we are eating protein, and we can save that. And we're just going to use that when we are fasting, when we are not having any food. But that's not quite true, because we can't save carbs in a big manner. Yeah, we have some carbs saved as glycogen in the liver and in the muscle, but these resources last us for about a day, 24 hours, then they are gone. So what happens afterward? Or what happens when you eat lots of carbs? Well, when you actually eat lots of carbs, our body has a mechanism to convert these carbs into fat. Why is that? Well, fat is the natural way of preserving energy for our body. Yeah, carbs can have a detrimental effect on our body, because if we have too many sugar in our bloodstream, then there are processes where what happens with sugar when you have like sweets lying in the sun. What happens with sugar? Well, yes, they bab together and everything is just one big lump of sugar in the end. And similar things can happen in the bloodstream. So sugar attached to everything, mainly proteins, and then they build up those advanced glycation end products, AGE, and they cannot do their proper job anymore. Okay, these proteins usually have the ability to help keep the blood pH level at a certain point, and if they are kind of like coated with sugar, they can't fulfill that task anymore, and that's a troubling thing, right? So the body actually converts sugar into fat so that it can store it away for later, for bad times, right? Funnily enough, those bad times don't happen in our time. Yeah? When do we have shortages of food? In the Western world, I can't think of any kind of situation where in my life there was a shortage of food. There was always something available. So the body has mechanisms to actually go through shortages of food, to not having food available. And these kind of like ways of dealing with the situation have an important role in our life. So when those glycogen reserves in the body diminish, because we are very active and the muscle glycogen decreases, or we are sleeping at night and the liver actually delivers the glycogen to the bloodstream to keep the blood sugar level at an even, keep it up at a certain level, then our glycogen reserves diminish. And after 24 hours, they're gone. There's nothing left. So what can the body do? Well, it has to find another way to build glycogen. And it uses protein to do that in the beginning. And one would think, oh, my muscles, that's a real problem. But it's not the case. If we show our body that we need our muscles, and that's basically it, when there's a food shortage and you can't find any food, what do you need to find new food? You need to move around and find food. So you need your muscles to move. And when you do that, you're not going to lose your muscle tissue. You use actually other proteins, which there are enough in the body, so that's not a problem. And the body can actually build glycogen from that, give that to the bloodstream. But at the same time, the body is actually building new enzymes to use fatty acids for fuel. And fatty acids, they last for ages. Yes, you can read that in the Bible, that 40 days of fasting is no problem. And that's really, really true. For most of us, 40 days of fasting would be nothing. Yes, even I consider myself being able to fast twice as long without any problems because I've got enough fat reserves. Yeah? Most of us have more than 80 days. Yeah, I think the longest period some person has fasted, and he was really, really overweight, was 360 something days. Yeah, so it really, really depends. Yes, obviously you need to do that under a doctor's supervision because you need your minerals, you need the vitamins, and so on. But it's possible if you have the right fat reserves. It's possible to do so. Okay, so let's get back to this. So fasting is important for our body because it helps us to regenerate and to repair tissues in our body. Yeah, I quite like a study I've read recently about cholesterol, and it actually showed that when you're going fasting and you're going without food for 1 week, it actually reduces your bad cholesterol. And it reduces the LDL, the small LDL particles by about 7%. 7% is a huge number. It's cool. It's great. Yeah. But if you fast even longer, 14 days, it's not just reducing the LDL particles by 7% or even double the amount, 14%. No, it's actually 35%. That's a huge amount just for fasting 14 days. And that has a huge impact on your lifestyle and how your body behaves, how your body feels. And that's just one effect fasting has. There are many others. Yeah, fasting or giving your digesting system a rest actually allows the body to regenerate, to repair itself, and to get back to a younger, healthier self. So fasting is a natural thing to do, and I would recommend doing that. But I understand there are some people that just can't imagine not having any food at all. It's a difficult thing. I understand that. So what can you do to still have the positive effect of fasting? You've probably heard about it before, and that is intermittent fasting. What does intermittent fasting stand for? Well, intermittent fasting means I'm actually having a fasting period every single day. What should that fasting period be? It's about 16 hours. Why 16 hours? That's actually a funny story. When the first studies were done with mice into this intermittent fasting thing, they actually, the scientists had a working day of 8 hours, right? So they would feed the mice when they came in, and they would feed the mice when they left, and then the mice had to fast for 16 hours the remainder of the day before getting any food again. So 16 to 8 was a natural study composition, right? Funnily enough, they have shown now that 16 to 8 is actually, even for us human beings, a really, really good time to fast. Why is that? Well, after 14 to 16 hours, we start a process called autophagy. And autophagy is a very interesting process. What does it do? It actually cleans up the cell. it actually gives the cell the message, come on, get rid of everything that you don't need. Yeah. So basically, the cell is practicing minimalism. I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need that. I just clean up everything I don't need, and then I can thrive because I can do that, what I'm supposed to do, in the best possible manner. Okay? So it's a natural process, and it's a good process because it helps our cells to regenerate, to repair itself, and to get back to the basics. Yeah? To do that, what they're supposed to do, very, very good. So when I'm actually fasting intermittently for 16 hours, I'm doing something good for my body, because the carbohydrate metabolism is actually anabolic. It wants to build new structures, it wants to build up new things in the body, whereas the fat metabolism is actually getting rid of things or restructuring things. And that's really, really important. We need that restructuring, we need that consolidation, we need that getting back to the real things. Yeah? And fasting helps us doing that. And it could be that intermittent fasting. So studies show us that it's the right thing to do, because even though if you would eat unhealthy in those 8-hour time windows, so if you don't change your diet in those 8 hours, but you restrict your feeding window to 8 hours, you have healthy benefits, like your triglycerides get better, you get more HDL, cholesterol, and so on. So there are benefits for just restricting the time window of eating. Yeah? So if you combine that with healthy eating habits, wow, you get even more benefits, right? So what about the fact you can't do 16 hours? Yeah? Not everybody can do 16 hours. That's okay, actually. Just try your best. So if you can't do 16 hours, maybe you can do 12-12. Because what does 12-12 means? Well, you have basically 12 hours where you wreck the system. You're eating and you have small problems that appear in the cells, and they have products that they need to get rid of, etc. And then on the other hand, you have 12 hours to repair what happened. Yeah? To regenerate, to repair the things, to get back to normal. If you do 12-12, then your body has a normal kind of aging. Yeah, you're getting older, things get more difficult, right? Yeah, okay. If you manage to increase the numbers of hours that you are fasting, you're giving your body more time to regenerate, to giving your body more time to repair. So that's a positive effect. The more you can fast, the better. But if you only manage 14 hours, then that's it. That's fine. That's totally fine. Okay? So give your body more time to regenerate, then you're actually giving it time to actually wreak havoc on yourself. And the funny thing is that if you actually look into some studies on Americans, they actually show people have a different kind of opinion about what they're actually eating and how much food they are consuming and when they are consuming it. Yeah, they say, oh, I'm having a 10-hour feeding window, but when you actually look and control it, you find actually, oh, they're getting up, having the first breakfast, having a second breakfast, having a latte macchiato, having lunchtime, and then coffee and cakes in the afternoon, a snack early evening, then there's dinner, oh, and then they need some snacks in front of the television. And because they can't sleep, they have to have some hot milk and honey at night. And when you actually look at the time and the amount of time they're spending eating, they come up with 16 hours. That's the complete opposite of intermittent fasting. And then it's clear why we have those degenerative problems with our bodies, that we're getting ill, that we're getting sick, and that we are struggling with things, right? So try to restrict your feeding window, and try even to restrict what kind of things you're having between meals. Yeah? If you need the latte macchiato, that's fine, but have it with breakfast or have it with lunch. Don't have it in between. In between, there should be only water, tea, or coffee black. Well, So yeah, intermittent fasting is a very interesting thing in helping our body to regenerate, to repair, and have some positive impact. Maybe you want to try this. Yeah, I would love to hear from you in the comments about your experiences. Yeah, have you tried it? What have you experienced? How is your body behaving? Can you feel the benefits, or do you feel? Yeah, what do you feel? I would love to discuss that with you. Well, that's basically it for today. Next time around, I want to talk to you about fasting and movement, exercising, because yes, you can exercise during fasting. It's actually easier done than you think. And I would be looking forward to discuss that topic with you. That's it for today. So see you next time around. Bye.